Oh, wow. This is so exciting. We're being
Yeah.
joined by several people. Wow, this is very exciting.
Oh my
Hi,
gosh, look at those
Megan.
numbers go up.
How are
Good
you?
morning. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Morning.
I'm sorry we can't be together, but it's lovely to see all of your faces this morning.
Kylie, how are you? Where are you hailing from?
I'm actually in Montana right now, so not quite in
Wow.
the state. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here with
well,
some family.
that's great. And
Hmm.
hi, how are you, Holly, today?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you,
Good.
Tamara?
Fine. And where are you right now?
I'm in Portland right now.
Wow,
I'm in
Portland.
Oregon.
Great.
Exciting.
So we're being joined by a lot of participants, which is super exciting. So from wherever you hail, we're really excited to have all of you join us. It's an absolutely beautiful day in Tacoma. I don't know what it's like in Montana and Portland, but it's
Gorgeous.
a
It's
beautiful,
Same here.
beautiful here.
beautiful day. And for those of you that are joining us, possible future loots, prospective loots, it's really unusual to have practically 2 straight weeks of sunny weather in Tacoma. So for anyone who tells you that the Pacific Northwest is rainy and cloudy all the time, today is a completely different day. So we'll just wait a few seconds. In the meantime, I think maybe we'll start with introductions first, but before that, I just want to let folks know that are joining us that what we have planned for you for the next half hour, 45 minutes is we're going to start with a PowerPoint presentation that Megan and I are going to do that will basically introduce prospective loots to what makes global education so distinctive at PLU. We know that you're visiting many colleges and comparing notes, and we invite you to look at this particular dimension of PLU's education because I think our approach to it is very different, as are some of our programs. And then that'll be followed by an opportunity to have a conversation and dialogue and ask questions to Kylie, who's joining us, who's a seasoned LUT, who's been on 3 study away programs and I think wants to go on a 4th. And she has lots of experiences to share with you and can share lots of wisdom with you about the experience. And then Holly's our brand new study away advisor at PLU and is also available to answer any questions that you might have.
Mhm.
So let's start with introduction, shall we? And then we'll get started with the PowerPoint.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. It's nice to be here, and I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Megan Grover, and I'm the Assistant Director and Short-Term Study Away Program Manager for the Wong Center at PLU, and it's my privilege to work with faculty leaders to help them with the design and delivery of their short-term study away courses, which primarily occur in the January term.
And my name is Tamara Williams, and I'm the Executive Director of the Wong Center for Global Education. I'm a professor of Hispanic Studies on the PLU faculty, and I have a focus on Latin America. I've also been the chair of PLU's really wonderful Global Studies program. It's a privilege to be with you today. Our Wong Center operations basically focus on 3 things: the delivery of study away experiences, the programming on pressing world issues, and also we run a research endowment fund for students and faculty to do research abroad. Kylie.
I could go next? Okay.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Kylie. I'm a senior at Pacific Lutheran, and I'm double majoring in political science and international affairs, and double minoring in economics and French. I have been on 3 semester study away programs, and also I went on a January term program. So lots of experience in different sorts of programs that PLU offers. On campus, I was part of the women's rowing team for 3 years. And I'm also a 4-year admissions ambassador tour guide. So lots of involvement.
So glad that you're here, Kylie.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here and just talk about something that shaped my entire university experience. So
Thanks, Kylie. Holly?
That's great. Hi, I'm Holly Peterson. So I have the privilege to get to work with Megan and Tamara in the Wong Center for Global Education. I'm the study away advisor and semester program liaison. And I got to participate in a program that Lutz participated in as well in Granada, Spain. So I'm excited to get to work with students on on that program as well that I have experience with.
Great. Well, welcome all of you, and welcome to our 62 participants. We're very excited. We wish we could see you all and greet you all by person. So we're going to go ahead and start with our brief PowerPoint presentation. And we do want to remind you that if you have any questions, there is a Q&A section on the right-hand side of the lower part of your screen. So make sure that you ask questions if you have them, and we'll keep those questions till the end of our presentation. The other thing I want to mention is that our amazing partners in the PLU admissions office know who you are and who's in the audience, and we will be making reference to some materials and programs, and would certainly love to send some follow-up materials to you after this presentation is done. So we're going to go ahead with the PowerPoint presentation. I want to just simply start by saying a few things. First of all is to talk about, the idea today is to really invite our audience to think of global education at PLU as a kind of journey, a series of stepping stones that all LUTs can participate and engage in, that we think if you plan intentionally can really enhance your undergraduate experience, and it really is a value-added series of experiences that will make you competitive in terms of your personal goals, your academic goals, and your professional goals. Megan and I discussed it, and we thought it was really important as we talk about global education, and as we all participate in this particular webinar from our homes due to our shelter-in-place directives, that we acknowledge that we're in a global pandemic. It's a difficult time for many peoples all over the world, but also say that there's really no crisis so serious, I think, in the last 100 years that requires US citizens especially to pursue global education. There are so many dimensions to this pandemic that require skills and education that we really are excited to have you here and think about as you move forward and make your undergraduate choices. So as I said, the idea is to take you through this journey. And before we start with the journey, Megan is going to tell us a little bit about the accolades that PLU has received in global education. We are an institution known regionally for our focus on global education, just so folks get a sense of the kinds of achievements we've had and the level of commitment that PLU has to this important area of learning. So Megan, would you like to share those with us?
Great, yeah, thanks. And so as Tamara mentioned, PLU is well known for being a globally focused university. And we're really proud of the fact that 50% of students in every graduating class have had the opportunity to study abroad. Consistently, PLU ranks in the top 20 of institutions similar in our size for the number of students who participate in study abroad. And finally, it's really noteworthy to mention that PLU is ranked 5th in the nation for the number of graduates who go on to serve in the Peace Corps after graduation. So we're really proud of some of these data points and are happy to share them with you.
Thanks, Megan. So then the next question is, PLU has made this commitment. We've had these achievements, but the most important question is why we think global education is so important as students contemplate their undergraduate educations. And definitely, there's no question that global ed will enhance personal growth of students, the breadth of knowledge about the world and the people in it, and certainly at this time in the history of the world, a real focus on our planet and its health. But there's also evidence as our graduates go out into the working world that students who have study abroad experiences are very attractive to future employers. And the reason for this is that they really show that they have enhanced skills in the area of flexibility and nimbleness, intellectual curiosity about the global context, really good intercultural understanding and skills, leadership skills, and also an ability to work independently. And then there's some real benefits in the job hunting process. which may become very, very important in the immediate future for sure. And that is that students who've had a study away experience generally find a job sooner, that pays better and is more aligned with student interests than students that don't have a study abroad experience. So knowing why we think global ed is important, we want to start with just a few observations about what makes global education at PLU distinctive, and then we'll start talking more specifically about this journey that we're inviting you to participate in. So Megan, do you want to tell us about global education at PLU?
Yeah, so I think it's really important that we already know that many colleges and universities offer study abroad, but what's important is PLU's approach to global education is what makes it unique and distinctive. So I'm just going to share with you that PLU's programs are aligned with our mission, and they're grounded in our values of diversity, social justice, and sustainability. Additionally, our programs are well integrated with PLU's curriculum, meaning that the credits and coursework PLU students take while they're on their study away program help them meet degree requirements and keep students on track to graduate on time. Our faculty are very supportive of global education, and their dedication to this is demonstrated by the fact that about 90% of students who study abroad do that with a PLU faculty leader. And so our faculty are on the ground with our students. PLU programs are holistic and categorized as a high impact practice. Our programs offer students with opportunities for experiential learning, such as internships, research, and volunteer work in our different locations. And finally, our programs are accessible and available to all students across all different majors and academic disciplines and from every socioeconomic background.
Thanks, Megan, for that great introduction to PLU's approach to programming. And now we'd like to shift our conversation a little bit to this journey, because even if study abroad is, I'm sure, the reason why most people have joined us today, we'd like to invite you to think about your global education starting a few years before you actually study abroad. So the first thing to think about is that global education really starts at your new PLU home. If you choose to live in a residence hall when you come to PLU in your first year, we invite you to think about living in one of the amazing living learning communities that residential life offers, and join a group of people that have the same interests that you have, are like-minded, to be in a nourishing and challenging environment where you will be with people who really share your intellectual interests. So a couple of examples, for example, Hong International Hall. I'm a language professor. I teach Spanish. I think it's very, very important that students be learning languages. In Hong International Hall, you can be in a wing with students that speak another language, who study it, who care about language, and also possibly join the International Honors Program that also shares a wing in that hall. This is a great way to start. Another would be, for example, I often remind students that music and creative arts is a form of international language. If you play Mozart or if you play Brahms, you are engaging in a dialogue with another culture. And it's a wonderful way to live in a community with people that know how important music practice is, voice practice is. So think about these opportunities, or a third opportunity would be to choose to live with an international student. So this would be the first stage of this international journey that we're talking about. The second is to really give some time. I know it's very exciting that you're coming to PLU, and college is a challenge on so many levels, but to really give some time to examining the curriculum and thinking about what courses you might want to take in your first year that correspond to what your interests might be. So your interests might be, for example, in the current environment, international public health, or public health and social justice, or immigration, or possibly a topic like development, or perhaps ethnomusicology. There are courses like this offered at PLU. You just have to be a little bit more careful and intentional in selecting those. And one of the places to do that in your first year is to look carefully at the freshman year experience program topic courses in the Writing 101 and the 190s. And another is to consider, if you haven't already, to apply and join the International Honors Program. And that's a alternative core. It's interdisciplinary and comparative and international. It requires a separate application, but that's another wonderful way to sort of get your feet, start getting your feet wet in the international ed environment. Finally, I'm a big fan of PLU's interdisciplinary courses that look at a region of the world or an issue in the world from a variety of perspectives. So some of the great programs that PLU has are the Chinese Studies program, the Environmental Studies program, for example, Native American and Indigenous Studies. So there's so much to choose from that has a global focus at PLU, and it's still happening on campus. And then you can move to other ways of learning. So we'll let Megan tell us a little bit about that.
Right, so as a student continues on their global education pathway at the PLU campus, we hope that you'll take advantage of the co-curricular programming on pressing world issues that's offered by the Wong Center's biennial symposia. These are free events that provide the entire campus community with an opportunity to interact with and learn from experts from around the globe on interdisciplinary topics such as polarization, migration, resiliency, peace and conflict, and other topics like this. In this way, we bring the world to PLU for students who are otherwise unable to participate in a study away program. And so then once a student has participated in some of the living and learning opportunities and co-curricular global programs we've just described, a student is then ready and has a clearer picture of what their goals are for study away. And so a student would meet with a study away advisor, such as Holly in our office, to plan for and to navigate through the different program offerings that are going to best fit their academic, professional, and personal needs. And so we offer a wide range of program locations with many different academic themes. You can see some of those listed here. For example, a pre-med student might be interested in spending a semester or year away in an English-speaking institution, for example, in Scotland or New Zealand. Once there, the student would complete general education requirements, or they would take courses for their major or minor, just as they normally would back here at PLU's campus. A student in Hispanic studies and interested in social justice issues might be directed or invited to consider spending a fall semester away in our Oaxaca, Mexico program, where students would have the opportunity to earn credits relevant to their course of study while enhancing their language skills by living with a homestay and being able to participate in a local internship experience. Short-term programs are also available each January term where students can satisfy general education or other degree requirements. To use nursing as another example, even if specific nursing coursework isn't available abroad, nursing students can absolutely still go abroad to study related topics such as public health, or a nursing student could complete general education or other course requirements, which is still a productive strategy. So in this way, the possibilities and opportunities are endless and absolutely unique to each individual student.
Thanks, Megan, for that great overview of our study away programs. We're going to end soon with we just have a few more slides because our we do need to pay attention to a few other things along the journey. And that is that while the study away experience is without doubt a high impact and very transformative experience for students, the truth of the matter and research shows that the real learning for students that have studied away happens when they come back from their study away experience. And the reason for that is that comparisons begin happening between where students were studying and now where they are now, who they've become in the process of being abroad, how they've changed, what their interests are, etc. So there's a term in the study away world, which is a returner. And that's the student who's had the study abroad experience and has come back to their campus and is going through this very intense experience of coming back after this extraordinary experience abroad. And it behooves us as a center to really pay attention to this space of learning that students are going through, and we do quite a bit of programming to support those students. So I'll mention a few, and then we'll end with a couple of slides for some stepping stones beyond the return experience that we many of our students participate in, and again really helps them to engage and become competitive in the world, in the marketplace. So we have a returner reflection series and resources. So these are reflection series run by our staff and possibly faculty members. It really opens a space for those returning students to think about the value of the experience they had and what they want to do with that experience moving forward. The risk of not doing that is that students are so excited when they get back to tell the story, and there are ways in which folks that haven't had that experience sort of aren't that interested in hearing about them necessarily over a longer period of time. So it's really important to create a space for students to find ways in which that experience can move forward. We do ongoing advising for students who return, and of course we encourage students to use the experience of their study away to meet the Gen Ed requirement for a capstone senior project, for example. And there are many other opportunities, and we'll highlight two. Megan is going to tell us about Wong Center research grants that actually offer students the opportunity to return to their study away location and do research after they've studied abroad.
Right, so this opportunity allows students to return to their host country to go deeper into a topic and to do independent research or research with a faculty member on a particular topic. So the Wong Center funds these research projects, and students are able to apply their learning, prepare for a capstone topic in their senior year, and use it as preparation for graduate school. So it's a really exciting opportunity for students to have.
Thanks, Megan. And then the final, our final slide relates to another wonderful opportunity that PLU offers its student, and it's a great way to channel and map your PLU global education journey. We have been designated by the Peace Corps organization to be a Peace Corps prep institution. And for those of you that aren't familiar with the Peace Corps, this is a US government agency started by President Kennedy many years ago to encourage young people to work and live abroad for 2 years post-graduation to be good ambassadors of the United States abroad. So we have Peace Corps representatives in roughly 60 countries, not right now. All Peace Corps representatives were recalled home as part of the COVID-19 crisis. But this program will continue. And it's a 2-year commitment, after which the government pays students about $10,000. And it also opens up many scholarship opportunities for graduate school all over the United States. So it's a great opportunity. And what the Peace Corps Prep does is it takes the students' academic program. Many of the coursework requirements for the Peace Corps Prep are double dipped with the students' academic program, whether it's in pre-med or education or environmental studies or business, which are some of the Peace Corps sectors. And then it involves a study abroad experience, so it's a perfect fit for students pursuing a global education, as well as some volunteer hours. So it's currently PLU has about 65 to 70 students in the Peace Corps Prep track, and we are considered one of the schools in the region that produces the most Peace Corps volunteers. So we're really excited about that. So just some final comments about financial aid and access, because all of this sounds wonderful, but I'm sure some of you are wondering, how do we do this? So Megan, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the most common questions we receive is the cost of study away included in my regular tuition and fees at PLU? And our answer to that is, well, it depends. So for semester-long study away programs, students are billed the regular PLU comprehensive fee for tuition, room, and board. This allows students to maintain their financial aid and gift aid. And included in this cost is a flight credit, study tours and excursions, and also international travel insurance. So for short-term study away, it's a bit different. Students are charged an extra out-of-pocket program fee, which averages about $5,000. Fortunately, we're able to assist students with need-based awards to provide greater access to these study away opportunities. The ones I want to mention are the Map Your Future Scholarship. This is available for first-year students. They can apply to it by November 15th, which would provide them with a $500 credit to use toward any PLU study away program later on in their academic career. Also, we offer the Global Scholar Award, which is established by PLU donors and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It supports students with $2,500 toward their out-of-pocket expenses, such as the cost of a passport, airfare beyond what's already included as part of the flight credit, or the cost of any required immunizations. For January term programs, a Global Scholar Award would provide a 20% reduction of the published program fee. So our goal is to make study away as possible, as accessible, as affordable for as many students as we can.
Thank you, Megan. You're all welcome in the audience to contact Megan or myself. You can do that via the PLU Wong Center website, and we invite you all to visit the website. There's some really exciting information on the website and some really super neat videos about our Gateway semester programs, which unfortunately we weren't able to show you today because the quality on Zoom isn't that great. So now we are going to end the slideshow, return to our wonderful panelists, and it appears that we have some questions in the Q&A. From Kyla, does PLU use the company EF Explore America for studying away? And I think that's maybe a Megan question. Would you like to answer that question?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So we're familiar with EF. It's not a program provider that PLU uses, but there are many others that we partner with, and I'm really confident in the quality and service and support that our program providers offer our students. How we select which program providers we work with actually goes through a pretty extensive faculty committee where faculty review different proposals, and then that's how we determine who it is that we partner with. And we have long-standing relationships with those program providers. So EF is not one of them, but there are many others.
Great. And then we have a question from an anonymous attendee for Kylie, which is, hi Kylie, you were my tour guide. Where did you study away? Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Well, hi. I'm so excited. I love hearing that I gave somebody a tour. Before I even kind of jump into my study away experience, I just was reminded by this presentation of just all the global ed experience I've had on campus. So I lived in Hong International Hall, so maybe you saw me snapping or getting excited when Tamara talked about that. I was in the French wing for 2 years actually, and I got to have an immersive kind of French experience on campus, which is incredible. I'm in the Global Studies program, and I'm also an IHON student, an International Honors student. So those are kind of the ways I built up to my study away experiences. In terms of where I went, my sophomore year, I went to Oslo, Norway, where we have a program where you can study peace and conflict resolution. And incredibly, I was able to sit front row at the first interview of the Nobel Peace Prize laureate. And it was hosted by Al Jazeera. That is definitely one of the coolest moments of my entire life, to have been that close. And you can see us on TV too, sitting in the front, all the PLU students.
Wow.
It's incredible. It's really cool. And then I came home, and 18 days later, I jetted off to Martinique, where I did an immersive French experience in the Caribbean. Martinique is a department of France. And so I lived in a homestay there for a month. And then the following year in the fall, so that would have been my junior year, I went to Oxford, England, which is where our International Honors Program operates, and has an exchange program with Oxford. It was incredible, extremely rigorous, but one of the most meaningful academic experiences I've ever had. Certainly a meaningful intellectual experience. And I studied Brexit in the time of Brexit. So yeah, it gives a whole new meaning, I guess, to Brexit when you're actually living it. And this past fall, I went to Aix-en-Provence, France. And again, I had been studying French since I was probably 14. And so it was a dream of mine to go. And this is a fairly new program. PLU has kind of opened up. It's kind of in the last 2 or 3 years. Highly recommended by me, but I got to go for 4 months and I actually got a certification in global wine trade, which is super cool. And basically an application of like what I was studying, which was like international affairs and trade. So all of these opportunities were incredible, but I'm surprised I didn't mention them on the tour. Sorry, I didn't. It's just a lot to say. So
well, you made an impression anyway. And for that student that asked Kylie the question, if you have any follow-up questions, just let us know. So I'd like to get to as many questions as we can before the admissions partners cut us off. So we have a great question here from Rose. My daughter would like to study 1 year in China. Would cost be the same as being on the PLU campus? Would you be able to graduate on time? And does she pay the $5,000 for J term if not coming home, or is it all set up for semester only? And I can take that question. Absolutely, your student could spend a year in China, Rose, and there would be no extra cost for that J-term semester. Both fall and spring semester would be charged at PLU's comprehensive fee, and because of block pricing, the January would not be an extra cost. The only time, and there's another question related to J-term, Megan, that there is that extra out-of-pocket cost is for the short-term J-term classes. And that is, the person asking that question is that J-term. And it is about a month-long program, but sometimes it can involve a week of classes on campus prior to departure and then 3 weeks abroad. It depends how the faculty member sets it up. So I have a question for Holly. Where do music students typically travel?
That's a great question. So they do have a lot of different options, and they could do general ed requirements if they wanted to, but we have a few options that we have through partner organizations that we work with that are specific for music students. So we have programs through the company IES in Vienna and Milan. And I actually just got to speak with some of those representatives recently and learn in more detail about those programs. And I was very impressed. So students in some cases have the opportunity to live in a residence hall with a practice room right there. Students are involved in orchestra, different music groups, choirs, and they have different opportunities with getting to go visit places where composers lived, where they worked, perform in really impressive historical places. So that was one of the opportunities that I'm really excited about for music students. So Vienna and Milan are two of the options that we have.
Great. And we work very closely with the music professors and the chair of the music department, and they have approved this program, which is very exciting. So we have another question, and I'm gonna have Megan answer this question, which is, can first-year students study away at PLU?
Yes, absolutely. A first-year student can absolutely study away. In fact, you can apply now to study away in one of our January term study away courses. So each year in the spring, we receive applications from high school seniors who want to embark on that journey. And so what you would do is you would take a look at our website and see our different January term course offerings. There are 10 programs available. Some would be appropriate for first-year students to join in on. For example, our program in Uruguay, which is a Spanish immersion experience. If you're coming in with advanced Spanish abilities, you are absolutely welcome to apply for that program and have the opportunity to study away in your first January term. So Definitely, that's a possibility. And if you have questions about that specifically, I'd be happy to follow up with you. If you want to send me an email or reach out to the Wong Center, I'd be happy to advise anyone on our upcoming January programs. The January term study away courses change every year. So what we're offering in January 21 will be different from what we offer in January 22. Those programs are announced each January for the next January.
So one other question, Megan, related to that is a question about whether a nursing student, as a first-year nursing student, could a student study abroad? And I would imagine that would have to be in J-term, or you can explain what some of the other options are.
Yeah, definitely. Any student can study away in their first J-term. They can take a look at our course offerings that we have. Some of those programs are going to offer general education credits. So for example, all students that are doing the general education program would need a global religion class. Well, we're offering a global religion class in Greece during J-term. So a student could apply to study away in Greece and earn that global religion credit, which is still productive. You're still earning credits that are required for the degree. Even though it isn't a specific nursing course, you're still taking requirements for PLU graduation. Also, a nursing student might be interested in our Tobago J-term program, which is focused on social, health, and education. And so anyone interested in health could go to Tobago for the January term and have a health experience in Tobago. So there are many different ways to approach it and different courses to select and choose from. Every student is going to maybe navigate that a bit differently and on kind of an individual way.
Great. So we have another question, Holly. I'm not sure we can answer this quite yet, but we have a student named Mila who's wondering where we would recommend they study if they were studying film.
I actually don't have a recommendation off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
I would love to look more into that. So feel free to look up my email on the Wong Center website and email one of us, and I'd be happy to get back to you.
Great. So yeah, the general way this goes is Holly's brand new. She joined PLU literally 2 weeks ago, so she's learning about our programs. And so film is a very specific area. I'm sure we can find a program for a film student. It's just
Definitely.
a matter of contacting us soon and planning early. Some other really great questions, and they're coming in, and I'm having a tough time tracking them. But here's a great question, and I think I'm going to have, well, Kylie might give a perspective on this, but Megan might as well. Are study away applications competitive?
I guess would you like me to start, Kylie?
No, you start and I'll go after.
Okay. I will say they're not meant to be exclusive, but we do want to make sure that students are well prepared for the experience. So we want to make sure that students are doing well. Also, you know, just to make sure that a student is ready to succeed in a global environment. And so that would be my explanation on that. Also, there are some certain programs that have capacities. And so maybe we're only able to admit a certain number of students, but there's a wide range of different programs, and advisors are happy to meet with students to help them navigate which program might be the best fit for them.
And there are GPA requirements for some programs as well.
Kylie, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. Each of my programs is a little bit different in the application process and how many kind of students go per semester. So for my trip to, or my, I guess, semester in Norway.
Thank you, Kylie.
Yeah, I know, I caught myself there. We don't say trip. Semester in Norway, we sent maybe 11 people, and I think we had the capacity to probably send more. But for my trip, or my semester to IHON's program in Oxford was definitely a lot more competitive, because Oxford is a very competitive school. I'm sure you all know that. And we only have a specific set number of kind of slots available within the Oxford kind of school regime, and so it's hard to take more than like 12 students. And so when there's a lot of honor students, sometimes that can be competitive. But for anyone who's interested in IHON who is like, oh really, it's going to be extremely competitive, I just want to say that the IHON program has been expanding their Oxford experience so much recently. I mean, they now have an opportunity for students in the fall, the spring, and January term, which is incredible for IHON students. So yes, there are more programs that are more competitive than others, but opportunities galore. So.
Great. So we have a couple of I think, great questions, and that is, what if I'm an undecided student? So the way that we set out our little journey analogy, it might have suggested that you kind of have to know exactly what you're doing to study abroad. But what if you're undecided? What would you recommend, Kylie? Would you have an approach to that? You can definitely still study abroad, and I'll just preempt you by saying the study abroad experience might help you decide, and that's very often the case. But I'll let Kylie take this one.
That's actually hits really close to home because I was undecided when I first went on my study abroad trip. So I always knew I was interested in seeing the world and exploring, and that's about all I knew. And I guess I left to Norway excited to go explore kind of part of my Norwegian heritage. And that's why I went. And while there, I got to kind of sit in on a bunch of lectures and actually was exposed to a lot of international legal scholars, which is how I realized, oh, I'm actually really interested in international affairs. Politics is great, but international affairs is where I'm interested. So I would recommend going into the Wong Center and just discussing with them your interests, sort of what you're looking for, something you're trying to connect to. And the Wong Center does a phenomenal job of putting you in a place that will help you figure out what you're looking for.
Great, that's a wonderful answer, Kylie. Another question, which is also such a great question, is I don't speak any other languages, so would I have difficulty studying somewhere that doesn't speak English? And I'm thinking of Aix-en-Provence, for example, which is the program that Kylie was on last. Both the fall semester program in Norway at Bjorknes that Kylie went on, and the Aix-en-Provence program in France are programs where you'll be invited to learn some of this French or Norwegian language, but all the coursework is offered in English. So those are two cases in countries where English isn't spoken, where you can still study. But we also have a lot of opportunities for students to study in New Zealand, Aberdeen, Scotland, London, and other countries where English is spoken. So I hope we've answered that question for Kayla. Another really important question is, do PLU faculty accompany all our study away programs? So who would like to take that one? Megan, would you like to answer that question?
Sure, yeah, no problem. I'll try to answer this one briefly because I know we're almost out of time. But in our January term model, yes, faculty leaders are with students in the January term program. So it's a course taught by PLU professor for PLU students, and they're out traveling and learning together. So the January term is 100% yes. In our semester study away programs, many have a PLU site director there who is a PLU faculty member who goes abroad with our students, lives there, teaches coursework there with our students, and students have the opportunity to take courses from the local professors. So it's kind of a blend, but not in all cases. In some cases, a student would direct enroll at an institution, and students would be taking classes directly from the local professors there. So again, it just depends on what a student is looking for, and our advisor, Holly, can help a student kind of navigate and see which model is going to be best for them. So we have a full range, and the perfect program for one student is going to be different for another student. So that's why we offer so many different options.
All our J-term courses, which are the ones that most of PLU's, at least almost 2/3 of our students go on J-term or a little less, are all led by PLU faculty. And then our gateway semester programs are all PLU run and led by faculty. And it's the third-party providers that broaden our range of locations and academic opportunities that offer us programs that are led by non-PLU faculty.
Great.
I think that we're done. I don't know, Kylie, if you want to, I'm going to give you the last word and then we'll close this session.
Oh my goodness.
and invite everybody that's participated with us to reach out to us if you have any questions, any concerns. All four of us are available to you. I know the admissions folks are going to follow up with some really paperwork that we usually share, great brochures and more information. But I just think really, Kylie, we do all this really for the PLU students. And I think for that reason, if you want to just close this session by telling us a little bit about the overall impact of the experience for you and the ways that it made you grow, and we'll end there and look forward to seeing some of you in the fall.
Okay. Well, no pressure. No, it'll be great. Actually, I love talking about study away. So, I came to PLU because the study away programs were incredible, and I was not disappointed. I knew I was going to study away at least twice, right? 2 semesters. To have gotten the 3rd semester, and to have gotten the support of the Wong Center to complete that 3rd semester with an equal amount of kind of financial help and support was incredible. I talk to my friends and family about my experience all the time, and they can't believe it, right? They can't believe my school would be supporting me going abroad for a 3rd time. And it's so difficult to explain just how wonderful the Wong Center is and our global studies program is. And I guess I also just want to say, like, I'm not unique. I mean, there are a lot of students on campus who have done at least 2 semesters abroad, at least a study away, trip, voyage, excursion at some point. I am just really tripping up on that word right now. But I have learned so much about myself and am getting ready to graduate feeling really confident in everything I've learned, and feeling as though, you know, international law or international security is where I want to go. But I never would have gotten there without PLU's help, and without the Wong Center, and without these amazing study away experiences. So if you're interested, reach out to the Wong Center and do it right now. Do it when you first get to campus. Be overeager and discuss. They're always there to talk with you, and they want to help you figure out what program is best for you.
Great. See, I knew you would just nail the message, because I'm not a student. So great. Thanks everybody that joined us today. We really hope you take a good look at PLU. Thanks to the wonderful panelists. Thanks to the admissions folks that made this webinar possible. Yeah, and have a wonderful day. Bye. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Yeah.